Bedroom super producers, welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, JT, and today we have a very special guest. Pardon me. This is someone I've been spying on for the better part of 2 years now on Instagram, and I will tell you this: he is a wizard when it comes to advanced mixing techniques, as well as we will find out later on today in the show, but he knows how to make beats that attract artists. And I'm sure everyone out there wants to know, like, how do we get more artists on our tracks? So Chris from WAV Formation, first and foremost, thank you for joining me today on the call. And why don't you go ahead and tell us a bit more about your journey? When did it start for you as a music producer and all of that good stuff?
Yeah, for sure, man. Appreciate it. Love being here. This is great being able to talk to you and being able to talk to some of the other music producers within the community. And it's awesome because I've read your book years ago, and like it was a great thing for me because I really wanted to get into sync at the time, and I was like, man, this book is awesome. So thank you for writing that book, first of all, and then thank you for having me on board. So my backstory: I've been producing for quite a while now. I've been in music like my whole life. I started playing classical nylon string guitar when I was in like 6th grade. So that's where like the music started for me, when my dad taught me how to do that. And like it's just been growing ever since. Like in middle school, I played in a rock band. In high school, I played in rock bands. And like music was always my life, right? So like we did everything. Like I remember stealing like a bunch of band equipment from my high school because we wanted to be able to have equipment for band practice. So we stole like thousands of dollars worth of stuff. And I remember just like being in high school, being like a sophomore and getting arrested for like stealing all that. So like music has always been in my background. And I started producing probably around my senior year of high school. I was looking for a way to record like my guitar lines and, record all the drums and all the band instruments and stuff like that. And then I started dabbling in like the electronic stuff, like, drum machines. Bass. I could make a whole song with just my computer. And so like ever since, I've been just like super fascinated by it and seeing like how other producers like utilize their computers and their DAWs and stuff like that. So ever since then, it's just been growing, man. It's just been a never ending obsession for me. So I wanted to do everything I possibly could to make music my career. And like, I was not going to stop. So like all this stuff happened like years and years later. Like I've always kind of just kept with it and kept wanting to do it as a career, but I just never could figure out a way to make it lucrative. And I was always having that shiny object syndrome where I would be like bouncing from one idea to another. And up until now, so like I've started coaching other music producers and showing them how to basically produce beats and attract artists and kind of monetize their music with marketing and different business skills. So that's what we're doing today.
Awesome. So let me take it back and rewind just a bit, because prior to your coaching days, I think you started to sell beats and you had a career in that as well. And so how did you get started selling beats online? And what was some of the things that you've learned along the way on how to build a beat selling business?
Yeah, so it kind of just started with things like posting on platforms that had already existed for selling music, like BeatStars and stuff like that. And I was kind of just like dabbling in like the different ideas and what people generally do. Like people will say like post on YouTube, post on Instagram, post on this to try to promote your stuff and then drive them to your beat store. And I mean, that works to an extent, but I just feel like there's a lot of back end things that you got to leverage in order to make it more effective. And so things like follow-up emails, things like staying in contact with people. I mean, like the biggest thing I think was having real legit relationships with people. Just like me and you, like we jumped on in the DMs, we had a real conversation, and now we're sitting here having a conversation via Zoom, right? Like there's no I feel like a lot of times like we mistake having like promotion to just be like, let me message you just to push my work onto you and see if you want to pay me for it. And that doesn't always go well, because when you walk down the street, you don't necessarily want to do that to a person in real life. Why would you do it on the internet? You know what I mean? Like, think about those people at the kiosk in the mall where they're like, you want some perfume? It's like, you trying to smell good? It's like, no, not really. I'm just trying to go buy some jeans. You know what I mean? Like, you're catching people in the wrong time. It just doesn't make any sense. So that's a huge thing that helped me kind of navigate things better and kind of attract more people, because I'm being genuine and being human. I don't even know if that was the question you asked.
It is absolutely the question, because I feel like today most producers think that there is kind of some paid ad trickery that you can perform, or maybe it's we oftentimes go back to what tool are they using, or what tools are they using, and we figure maybe it's the software, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, and you've explained it perfectly. It's all about human interactions, whether it be selling beats, selling coaching packages, and we'll get into that later on. But I feel like most producers out there, they're like, well, I need to market myself better. Well, yeah, but it's not just content creation. It's way more just to, like you said, get into DMs, have a real human, normal conversations where you're not necessarily pushing your beats right away
Mm-hmm.
on the prospect, and
Exactly. Exactly.
going from there. And so, uh, how many years did you sell beats prior to going high ticket and the coaching round and all of that?
Um, I think I did it for, it was it was never like, so I never just like sold beats and just sold beats.
Okay.
So I always sold beats in combination with something else, whether it be like melodies, whether it be like production services, mixing services, mastering services. And so like it was like a big part for me, but I don't know if there was a time where it was strictly just that. But I have been doing it for a couple years. But ever since I started coaching, I kind of just put that to, the wayside, just because I want to be able to deliver as much value as I can to my students. So something that I like doing is focusing on one thing at a time. Because I've noticed that whenever I try to do multiple things at once, it doesn't get me very far.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're constantly like, it's the whole shiny object syndrome. So like if you're trying to do YouTube, you're trying to do Instagram, you're trying to do Facebook, right? You're doing all those three at once while being one person, you're only going to get so far beneath it. And when you only get so far, you never reach that sweet point where you start seeing like the results and the return on investment, right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
you were to dig for gold and you're digging in one spot for like a couple of feet and you're like, there's no gold there. And you go over here and you dig over here and you're like, there's no gold there. Well, it's because you're not digging deep enough. Like if you put all your efforts into one spot, then maybe you'd finally actually reach that gold.
Right. So um, we talked about having a humane approach to marketing. Now, I remember this is an example you gave in one of your videos, where it's essentially the metaphor of people digging for gold, and they're just building these little shafts, if you will.
Yeah.
Uh, pause. But and essentially, it's a meme that we see often. If you dig deep enough, you will strike gold, but you need, like you say in your video, to dig one very deep hole, and then you'll start to see success. And I think that's something that we can take example from you, where you did exactly that with your Instagram, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna say like I was, the perfect example for it, because I obviously like I had to test things, I had to fail things before I realized it. So like, I've spent my time over on like YouTube where I'm like, I'm gonna grow like my YouTube channel. I'm so excited about it. And then I grow it to like a few hundred followers. Then I'm like, you know what? Maybe Instagram is the right way for me. So then I'll hop back over to Instagram and I'll be like, you know what? This new TikTok thing, that must be the new wave. And so you jump over there. So all of these opportunities are great opportunities, right? Nonetheless, they're all great, but you got to pick one because you're only one person. Like if you don't have a team to like post for you and do all this stuff, then it becomes hard because you're only one person trying to manage it all. And if you're only one person, you got to make sure your efforts are put in the right place. So yeah, that's where I kind of recently on Instagram, I kind of like put all my efforts into Instagram and like help that grow. And so obviously like I'm still learning myself. I'm still learning like what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, and what works and stuff like that. But the more that you fail, the more that you can get that out of the way because it's going to happen. It just does.
Absolutely. I love your answer because you're not trying to sugarcoat it like you're just this weird wizard who has it all figured out from the get-go. I
Absolutely not.
mean, everybody, even the most successful entrepreneurs out there are still failing. I'm looking at your mentor Dan Henry on Instagram, and he's still trying to figure new ways
Right.
to get leads in the funnel and entice them to go further with their careers by investing in his program. So
And it's especially cool when you're seeing your mentor try different things because
absolutely.
you know that like even at that level, they don't have it all figured out. They're constantly trying to try new concepts, and especially like in this world, in this era right now, like we need to finally like continuously try new things because things grow, things change constantly. So if we don't keep up, then we're just going to be stagnant.
Being on the subject of mentors and mentorship and investing in yourself, when did you get that epiphany for yourself that you needed help from a mentor? And I'll have a second question after that is like, how do you become self-aware of that? And when did this whole thing happen for you? Because I know from following you that you educate yourself on marketing, you educate yourself on business, you educate yourself obviously on music production and mixing and all of these good things. But how did it happen for you?
Yeah, so it was kind of I feel like it was gradual. I mean, I definitely have gone through my like a handful of mentors before I found, those ones that really changed my life. So again, that's like a trial and error type thing. But starting out, like I just assumed that I could do everything myself, like most do, right? We have YouTube. Like, why do we need to pay people, man? We got YouTube. Like, so, and with YouTube, there's like a million people posting. Like anyone can post, right? So we get a lot of information, first of all. So there's just information overload flying at your face, and you're just like trying to consume it all. But at the same time, there's contradicting information. So you're like, but this guy said this, but this guy's saying this. Which one do I believe? So I just, like you just have to come to a realization that you don't have it figured out because there's like a percentage of things that you know, and then there's a bigger percentage of things that you don't know, but there's an even bigger percentage of things that you don't know that you don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's things that you don't know that you don't even know and you don't even realize it, how are you supposed to fix that yourself? Right? You can't. And once you realize that, and you realize that there's other people out there that know more than you that can move your career further, and all you have to do is reach out for help, then that's when the needle really starts moving. Okay, because like I tried for years, like a decade of trying to like make music my career, and I just couldn't figure it out, because like I thought this and I thought that, and there's these general like kind of general concepts that everybody realizes. They're like, oh yeah, marketing's important. Oh yeah, like this is important, like posting is important and stuff like that. And do you ever wonder why not everybody is successful that posts on YouTube or posts on Instagram? It's because it's not that easy. It's not that simple. It's not simply just like post 3 times a day and you'll be good. You're going to build a following and they're all going to buy from you. Like that doesn't work. Your follower count doesn't translate to your income level, right? It depends on like, do you have an offer? Do you have this? Do you have the there's too many factors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think what's holding people back is they think they know what to do, but it's really just a small portion of it. And they think it's just that they're not implementing it. But really, even if you implement that, like if you implemented posting like 5 times a day on Instagram, like that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to translate to you making money.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that especially is so, as you said, unpredictable, and you can't build a business on unpredictable flows or tasks, or and so again, speaking about mentorship, and maybe you will agree with me, but maybe not. It's not so much about, at least in my humble opinion, it's not so much about the information as it is about the Jedi mind trick that you apply on yourself by investing. And I feel like the more expensive it is, the more serious you'll be about it,
Oh, yeah.
and the more driven. So, can you talk on that a bit for me, please?
Yeah. Okay. So, right. Mentorship is not just about the information, right? Like, because if it's just an informational course, like that is all it's going to give you is information. And are we lacking that? Not necessarily. Like we said, we have YouTube and stuff like that. There's tons of information. But when you sign up for a coach or some sort of program like that or mentorship, like you're looking for transformation, right?
Mm,
You want to leave this mentorship program with some sort of result. What is the end result that this mentorship is going to get you? Okay, so if you are trying to turn your music hobby into a career, like that's the transformation you want. So you want a mentor that can match that can provide that for you, that has done that. Now, if you're just, and like you said, so when you pay a higher price, also, first of all, you have more skin in the game. So you're dead serious. Like I've spent maybe like $1,000 on a program before and I never logged in. But
wow.
then when I spent 5K, or I'm sorry, like 5 figures and like took out a loan and stuff, like you're way more, you're doing every single thing that person says. And then in the end, you're going to get a huge result from it. When I signed up for a program, like a mentorship, like I remember like 5 months later, I quit my job.
Wow.
So it happens quickly, right? Because also when you're talking about, money and time, like time is more important, right?
Hmm.
We all talk about that. We all say like, oh yeah, we have limited like time and stuff like that. But what are you doing with your time? It's like, no, I'm going to wait to get mentorship because I'm just going to I'm going to wait and see how it goes. No, what? Don't wait. Like you're wasting time, right? Your money you can earn back. It just comes and goes. It's cash flow. It's a cycle. Time just goes. It doesn't come back. Right. So we all have like 8,000, 86,400 seconds in every day. You have that. I have that. Warren Buffett has that. Elon Musk has that. We all have that and no more each day. So what are we doing with it? It's super important.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to a big part of my message as a mentor. Also, is that I wasted 15 years trying to figure this all by myself. It took me 15, and I still hired several mentors as well, both in the 4 and 5 figure ranges. And I see myself as a very driven individual, very obsessive, very competitive, and quite smart, honestly. And still, 25 years later, I'm no like, I'm not Skrillex level. I'm not, Max Martin or whoever, you know what I mean? But I did make a living for myself, and it took me a very, very long while. And I like the fact that you're talking about time, because at the end of the day, it should never be about money when you're contemplating learning, investing in your career. It's all about, well, do you want to end up like me, 41 years old, and finally make it? Or maybe you want to be 28 or maybe 25, even if you're enlightened, not like I was at 25, and figure out that you can get that help right now on internet. Find the right mentor for you with the right information, the right program, and do it like in 3 to 5 years, really.
Right. Like the sooner you do it and the sooner you realize it, the more of an advantage you have. Because like, look at us, right? It took us like over 10 years or like a long time. Even we seeked mentorship and it took us this long to get here.
Exactly.
And so if you're going to continue to wait, like you're just burning that time. You're, like imagine like if we in the first year figured stuff like this out, like where we would be right now.
I would have never been a graphic designer for 12 years. I'll tell you.
Right? So like we would be so much further. So like you need to leverage that time if you're considering mentorship.
Mhm.
That time that you have. If you're young and you're early on, like the sooner you realize this and take advice from, people that have been through this and have taken a long time to get here, like you're going to be off to the races way quicker.
Absolutely. And so before we switch topics, I'd like to give the floor to you and tell us exactly what you do as a coach. Who are your customers and clients, and what do you do for them?
Yeah. So I show music producers of all levels, whether it be beginner, intermediate, advanced, whatever it is. I teach you the entire process and I walk you. I'm there with you the entire time as a coach. So first of all, I have a week 0 in my program, and that's mindset. Okay. Mindset. You hear it all the time. It's like, woo, mindset, but it's very important because it makes you make every decision. Okay. And if you aren't making the right decisions, then you're going to end up in a different spot, whether that be for good or for bad. So if you have a good mindset, then it'll take you that way. But if you have a poor mindset, it's going to direct you that way. So mindset's very important. And I cover that a lot as a music coach. Like we do mindset as a music coach. So, and then I take you through the whole production process. I talk about like writing melodies, doing drums, doing arrangements, mixing, mastering, all the above, in order to have a good product for your potential clients, which are artists. So making beats in a way that attracts artists. And then I show you how to take, once you have the production down, you have a product now. So I show you how to position yourself in the marketplace, and I show you the strategies and tactics in order to bring high ticket clients and, sell your beats at a premium price. And
Okay.
so when you do that, you're kind of working in a different market. I know, not to talk bad about like BeatStars and leasing and stuff like that. I think it's great because you can do unlimited leases and stuff like that. But it's harder to hit your income goals when you're moving at a rate of like $30 per sale. And when you're doing that, you also have to drive traffic at the same time. So you're either spending a lot of time DMing people or you're spending money on ads. And when you're spending money on ads, but you're selling products at $30, it becomes hard to, first of all, you have to break even. And then anything above that is profit. But when you're selling low ticket, you're depending on volume. So volume of traffic needs to be large, and driving a large volume of traffic means a lot of ad spend. So I show you how to do high ticket so that you move the needle faster, you hit your income goals faster.
Absolutely. So just for the folks in the audience who are not too familiar with some of the terms Chris just used, low ticket, as he said, is a low priced product. So beat leases for $30 would fall into the category. Even if you'll agree with me, even $500 for an exclusive license could still be considered, kind of a mid to low ticket item.
Right.
And so, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
That's definitely like, it just depends on where you're at too. 500 might be high for somebody, but it might be like mid or low to others, which I think in the general kind of like industry level, I think it's like you said, like kind of low to mid. But yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I like to push my students to already feel like 500 is low. That way they can open, as you said, with the mindset stuff, open their minds to maybe charging $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for a beat. All right, So now we talk about, and that's a very innovative approach, if I might say so myself, because high ticket in beat selling these days is more about, bundling a lot of beats and then bundling other value adding products to your offers, such as, ebooks and many courses and stuff like that. Whereas you say, no, you can focus just on the music, just on the beats, and figure out a way to craft relationships with artists so that they understand the value of paying high ticket, high amounts, like big amounts of dollars for one single beat. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, like I definitely, if you can leverage bundling, like your offer, that's just more value, right? That's more that you can charge. But say you only offer beats, it's really how you're presenting everything. It's hard to do it on an order page because there's no personal touch there, right? So like if you're taking a prospect to an order page and being like, buy this beat from me, $5,000, please, like it's difficult. So that's where like the relationship building and stuff comes in again, because what I do is I help you, first of all, get them on the phone. Okay. Get them on the phone, and I teach you how to do the whole sales process and position yourself in a way where you can command these prices and they're willing to pay for them because of the rapport and the relationship that you've built with them on that phone call.
Got it. So we'll talk about some of the sales tactics and scripts and all of that. But first, what does a $5,000 beat sound like, and how do you achieve that with your clients? How do you work on their beat making skills to where they can get to that level in terms of quality and in terms of musicality, if you will? Like, how does that happen?
Do you mean like how is there like a specific like mixing and production thing that we do?
Yeah, I guess what do you teach people in terms of production and mixing, both from an artistic and technical standpoint, to get their beats ready for prime time, if you will?
Yeah, well, you know, I kind of don't really teach anything that's in like I don't have any crazy hacks, right? To make your beats like super like do this and your beats will be worth $5,000. It doesn't I don't really have that. I just teach the way that I understand things is like I try to teach concepts, the basic concepts to a degree where you're really, really understanding what you're doing. So let's say a compressor, right? We all use compressors. Some of us may have a better understanding of compressors than others. Some of them like I just the way that I teach, I want to give you the best understanding of the tools that you have already at your disposal so that when you use them, you really know how to use them, right? A compressor it's a very basic thing, but it's also can be very advanced. Same with like an EQ or something like that. It really just depends on how you use these things. And so to answer your question, I don't I just help producers try to get to the best quality that they can. But as far as like the pricing and stuff like that, it really just it's however your prospect perceives it. Like if they think they really want to work with you and they see your work as being very valuable, then the dollar amount is irrelevant.
And I guess even the technical aspect is irrelevant from what I'm hearing, meaning that the mix doesn't need to be perfect to be of high value to an artist.
No.
And perfectionism can, be set to the side, so that it's way more about your synergy with the artist.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember from, I guess it was your free training, that one of the biggest selling points for beats that attract artists is to leave room for the vocals.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Overproducing. That's something that we all have done at some point in our lives, if not still.
Well,
Like
that's why I'm successful at music licensing, because I do overproduce all day, every day.
nice. There you go. See, there's a lane for everything, right? Like if you were to do TV film and stuff like that, it's a little bit different than if you were to do like something for an artist. Like for an artist, we're like the beauty in is stripping a lot of the things back. Like we're just the supporting the supporting band for the artist, right? Because the artist wants to be in the spotlight, they want to be this and that, and that's what helps them shine. So when we produce and we overproduce, like a lot of times we'll just like overproduce and just like to flex, be like, yeah, check out this production. And the artist is like, dude, there's too much there. There's too much going on. Like you can't even focus on my vocals. And so that's a big selling point, is leaving space for vocals. And I think we all have a general understanding of that, but like putting it into action, it's, you know, there's a few tricks and stuff that we can do to help alleviate that center area for the vocals.
Right. And so let's now talk about, like, I guess what the meat of your program is, and it's really about fostering those relationships and then understanding how to get artists on a phone call. And I'm in this day and age, I'm sure you've experienced that with your own coaching business, but some people are weirded out when you want to talk to them in person. So what do you teach your students to get to position themselves and then get people on a phone call? What does that look like?
Yeah. So a lot of stuff is in follow up too. So just if you take anything away from this, like the one thing is like you don't always need to be pitching on the first conversation. That's just, I mean, like it's harder. It takes some work, but like follow up is kind of important, because like if they've talked to you once and you say bye and they had a good experience with that, when you come back again, they're going to be more willing to like be like, hey dude, yeah, I remember you, like reach out and wanting to work with you. And so what I teach my students, basically the process is you drive traffic, first of all, whether it be organic, whether it be paid, and you take them to a landing page. So this is a sales funnel. It's called like high ticket sales funnel. So you take them to a landing page where you offer them, whether it be free beats, whether it be a free PDF that gives them information on how they can move their artist career forward, whatever it is, you offer them something. That's called your lead magnet. And in exchange for that offering, you get their contact information, whether that be email, phone number, whatever it is, messenger, somewhere where you can follow up with them, right? So the important part about this is continuing the conversation. The whole thing is continuing the conversation and moving them further down. So from there, once they've signed up, you guys have exchanged goods, products, like you've given them the PDF or whatever, the beats, and you've gotten their email. You take them to a video sales letter, which is going to describe you, your brand, and what you have to offer to your ideal clients. Okay. And if they resonate with that video, you offer them a link where they can apply to get on the phone with you. And this application process is very important, I feel, because it does a lot of filtering, right? Mm-hmm. So this is how we maintain those high ticket clients and get on the phone with just potential high ticket clients. Because if there's someone that's just looking for free beats, if there's someone that's just looking to pay $5 for a beat or any low ticket stuff like that, like you want to try to filter them out. So if they don't have the finances to advance to that phone call, then you take them to a denial page. But if they do, they're ready to work with you, they want to talk to you and all that stuff, then they get taken to a calendar page where they can schedule a time to make that phone call with you. And then that's basically the funnel, right? It's very simple. It's just landing page, video, application, and calendar page. So there's not a whole lot going on there, but the heavy lifting comes in the sales calls, right? And making that deal and closing that deal on the phone. And that part is very, very vital. And it's a huge learning curve, not even gonna lie. But like once you do that, once you have that skill and you can close high ticket, you can get a stranger to pay you money for your services at a high ticket level. That's gonna bring you tons of confidence and a skill that's gonna bring you money for a lifetime.
I absolutely agree. I have experienced that in my own coaching business, and the boost that you get from a new signee is incredible. And also, I feel like just getting off of those phone calls with prospects is very, very rewarding. So even if, like you said, you don't have to close on the first call, meeting people is a beautiful thing. It
Right.
absolutely brings momentum to you as a person and as an entrepreneur. And so we've looked at the funnel. I just want to reiterate some of the technical terms that you use, because maybe some producers and musicians out there are not familiar. But a landing page, you've seen it all, but it's just a very, very simple page where you can just sign up, leave your email, maybe your name, maybe your phone number, and you essentially say to the person, here's my contact info. I want to receive your lead magnet. And so a lead magnet is a freebie. Like it could be a PDF, as you said, it can be a bundle of beats. And from there, the goal of the producer is to keep the conversation going, sending automated emails probably, and then still training them into how this relationship is going to benefit them in the long run, right? And so now I'd like to, Chris, if you could tell us a bit more of what the psychology is behind commanding such an important price, such as, you know, a few $1,000s for one beat. How does it work? How do you get a prospect to accept that reality?
Yeah. So a lot of it, like in the sales call, it's not about your product, right? It's not necessarily about your product. It's about the prospect. It's about who you're talking to. Okay. So how important is their music career to them? Do they consistently want to use beats that others are doing or using off of, you know, BeatStars? Do they want their own unique sound? Like what is that going to, how's that going to further their career, and how's their career going to further their life? Okay. So you want to dig into these pain points, whether it's like, why are you doing music? Why not something else? Why don't you like your full-time job? It's like, well, I'm stressed out every day. I don't have the time to spend with my daughter. Oh, you have a daughter? Oh, well, how do you think the music career is going to help the relationship between you and your daughter? Oh, well, I'll be able to be at home with her more and spend more time with her and stuff like that. So you want to dig further into these prospects' lives and why they want to do music, not just, hey, what kind of sound do you want? Or what kind of type beat do you want? Like that's like very surface level. Okay. Whatever we try to do, all these things, commanding premium prices, they take more digging than just the surface level. Because if you're only going like surface level, like what sound do you want? You can sell that for online on an order page. There's no point on getting on the phone if you're just going to, you know, charge a low amount and that. And so like when you're commanding premium prices, there's got to be more to it. You've got to get your prospect thinking and thinking about like why they're truly doing this. Like, why do you want music as your career? Why do you need these custom beats? Like, why do you need that unique sound? Why do you need your own sound, your production that nobody else has? Right? How's that going to move your career forward? So it's actually a very emotional thing. You know, like most of the phone calls that I get on, like they get pretty emotional. And people are like, I didn't think this was going to go like this. You know what I mean? And so like, but it's up to you to be the driver. You got to ask the right questions to get your prospects to be thinking this way and to admitting they need your help and like realizing like what their position is and if they don't change it, what their future is going to look like. Did I answer any questions there?
Absolutely. And I think that's you even educated myself on what the real job of a producer is. And at the end of the day, I feel like we're big brothers or big sisters, and we help these artists focus their emotional energy towards that goal of making important, timeless music, and so obviously you made me realize that it is not about, like you said, surface level, such as what sounds do you want or what type beat are you looking for, and it's more about why you're in this in the first place. And that's something I experience every day with my own students is, why do you want music as a career? Like, what will it change if at some point you could actually quit and do this full time? What does it mean? what will it do to your family, to your free time, to your whatever it is.
Yeah,
But yeah, you've explained it very eloquently, I will say.
thank you, thank you. And it's exactly like that kind of stuff. It's like it needs to be of a bigger magnitude in order to like command that premium price, right? It needs to leave a bigger impact. So if it's just things like, what kind of sounds do you like? What kind of type beat or like stuff like that? Like that's not of enough value to be commanding that kind of price. And so we're able to command these higher prices is because we're getting that deep with them, and we're finding out the true issue and how can we solve that issue, or
Yeah.
help propel your career to the next level.
Now, I'd like to ask you, because obviously you met with several producers who want to take that route of high ticket beat sales. And prior to the transformation, what were they experiencing? Because I want to talk to people out there and I want them to hear and resonate with what you're offering. So, what does a producer who gets into WAV Formation? What's the name of your program, by the way? Is it WAV Formation or?
Produce beats artist by.
Right. Okay. And so, what do they look like when they enter the program? What are they unsure of? What are they afraid of? Say again. Sorry.
They're confused.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So it's always like a bigger thing, right? So we think it's our mixing, we think it's our mastering, we think it's our melodies, but it's always a bigger thing. But you never realize it until you speak to somebody that helps you realize it. And that's exactly what I teach you to do. That's what I do on my phone calls. It's like that's where I was giving that example, is like you got to dig further. It's like, why are you actually doing this? Oh, because I want to quit my job because my job sucks and I'm spending too much time there. I'm working overtime and like I'm not having any time with my family. I'm not having time to do music and stuff like that. And so when you realize that you have that much of a problem, then it just, what are we talking about again? I just like blacked out for a second.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, it happens to the best of us, but you were on the right track. So people are confused, and you help them realize that they cannot go on forever with the job that they hate, no free time, doing overtime, and essentially music might just cure all of that.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So we have these dreams and these ambitions and stuff like that, but sometimes we put them on the back burner because life happens, right? Mm-hmm. So it's constantly going to be back there, but it's constantly like going to be like tickling your ear and being like, hey, what about me? What about your music career and stuff like that? But we constantly were like, get out of here. Like, or we try to like be like, okay, yeah, we're still going to produce music like once a week or something like that. Just
now it's not the right time.
Yeah, it's not the right time. Like things, it's never the right time, by the way. And so we just keep that going. But like when you take like the step to find like a mentor that's going to help you realize that that's not going to go away and like you're never going to be happy unless you make that dream a reality, then it sparks and it ignites this motivation inside of you. So sometimes like I have students that like they don't even have trouble making music. They just have trouble being consistent. So they're like, I will pay you to just keep me going, So that's huge. Like there's multiple reasons that you would get a mentor, and it's not just for knowledge. Sometimes it's accountability. Sometimes it's having people there to answer your problems whenever you run into those roadblocks that you don't even realize exists. There's just so many reasons to get a mentor that I'm never going to go again without having mentors in my life. It's there's no way. Like I'd be missing out on too much. And your biggest cost in life besides taxes is your opportunity costs. So like how much money are you leaving on the table because you don't know how to sell your music?
Well, that's the biggest cost in any business, isn't it? The money that you're not making.
Exactly.
I don't know who said that, but yeah. So for the people out there at home listening to this podcast, I think that what Chris is saying is that if you're wondering right now why it hasn't happened, is because you need that clarity, and you're not gonna get that on your own. It's just not, I don't know, in the history of mankind, there aren't too many people who were stuck and who actually figured it out and became millionaires and launched a Tesla or Apple or whatever. They
There's not enough
all
time.
had mentors. That's one. Actually, you know what? In self improvement, I feel like that's the actual secret. That's the secret.
Yeah.
It's not the law of attraction. It's actually saying, "Hey, I need help. Please
Yeah.
help me mentor now."
Admitting that you need help.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
we could, like, ego gets in your way too. You're like, oh, I don't need help. I can figure this out myself. Like, that happened to me. But like
Happened to me.
but once we like were ready to admit it, it's like, okay. And then like everything just went flying. Like all the goals we wanted to hit, like we hit them quickly because we found someone that has already done it to show us the way. Like we don't have to, they did the trial and error for us. And that's huge. Like when somebody has tried something for years and years and years and finally figured it out, and they just tell you how to do it rather than you trying to figure it out, it just speeds up the process. And we don't have enough years in our life to try to like hit all these goals. Like you said, like multimillionaires or whatever, like they learn from other people. Like if they tried to figure out everything themselves to bring them that much money, they just don't have enough time. And again, time is the most valuable resource. So
Yeah, and I feel like studying multimillionaires and billionaires, they are the experts at evaluating what should they invest on to get them as fast as possible to the result they're looking for. And they'll always pay money or hire someone or anything like that to move faster. They are never interested in learning on their own and
Absolutely.
just taking the long route of uncertainty and the lack of clarity that comes with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when someone walks up to you and they're like, hey, I can solve that issue. It's like, no, I'd rather have the problem and try to solve it myself. It's like, no, thanks. Please don't help me. Like, no, nobody does that. Like, because they realize that time is more valuable than money. So they're trying to leverage their money to buy their time back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and time is really like the key word today, I feel. Chris, I'd like people who are interested in selling beats to artists and attract more artists to get in contact with you, understand how they can hire you as a mentor. So the floor is all yours. Explain to us how we can work with you and get those high ticket offers off the ground and running.
Yeah,
Please.
for sure. So if you want to learn how to produce beats that attract artists and get more high ticket clients, then you can go to producebeatsartistbuy.com. There's going to be a free training. It's about a half hour, and I'm going to talk to you about production, marketing, and all that stuff. And if you like that training and you resonate with it, there's a button right below the training for you to book a call. Feel free to do so. You can just click that button and it'll go through an application process and it'll take you to a calendar page. Just pick the best time that works for you to get on the phone, and we can talk about how that looks.
Cool. So I'll make sure to add your URL on the screen and in the description. Do you have parting tips for producers who want to make it in this game? Like one or two gems that you can drop before we close this call.
Yeah. Like you said, the word is time, right? So quit wasting time. Like if you need help, reach out for it, whether it's me, whether it's him, whether it's anybody. Just make sure that you get the help that you need, because it's going to move the needle so much faster for you. And then you're going to be like, why haven't I done this entire time? So when it comes to knowledge and mentorship, it's very important, and saving your time is very important. So do the right thing with it.
Awesome. Chris, thank you so much for joining the call today and joining the podcast. I'm sure bedroom super producers out there will greatly benefit from your insights, because your message is quite different from mine. And I always like to have everybody's perspective. And I think that something that you're doing right now is very unique, and it's bringing it back to the essence of what music is all about, is connection, right? So if you connect with your artists, You're going to do great things. They're going to do great things on your beats. You're going to be proud of your work. You're going to make money. They're going to make money. Everybody's going to be more empowered by it, if not richer. And so it's a beautiful thing. And I really like your offer. And I feel like if people are listening out there, go pay Chris a visit. You will learn for sure on the call. Even if you decide to back off and you're just not sure that music is for you, at least you'll leave with clarity on what you need to do. Maybe it's go back to the dead end job. I hope not. But yeah, Chris, so thank you so much for your time. And we'll see you in the next Bedroom Super Producer episode.